Namaskar, I'm Harpreet Kaur and I welcome you all to our live and interactive session. You're watching us on PMeVIDYA channel number 9 and in a short while we will upload this session on our YouTube channel NCERT official as well. Well, this session is meant for the students of class 9 and the subject that we have taken up today is English. Under this subject, we are going to learn about chapter 3 of your textbook titled Iswaran the Storyteller. Well, quite interesting, but who is this Iswaran and what kind of stories he is telling? We will let you know in a while, but before that, let me tell you the session is live and interactive, so you can give us a call or email us and participate in the session. Phone number is 8800440559. And if you wish to write an email to us, the email ID is dth.class9@ciet.nic.in. And now who is going to tell us about Iswaran the Storyteller? Well, we are joined by our expert, so let me introduce her to all of you. We are joined by Dr. Meenakshi. Namaskar and welcome.
Thank you so much, Harpreet.
So, ma'am is Assistant Professor of English in Department of Education in Languages from NCERT, New Delhi. Now, this title seems quite interesting and mysterious. So, you have to tell me, before we get into the details, that who is this Iswaran and why he is, I think, a popular storyteller.
Okay, I'm thrilled with the energy that you are giving me right now.
Thank you.
The curiosity that you are having for the story. So great with that start. So Iswaran, our character, he is going to be a person. He's the person who is going to tell us a story. Not a story, different stories in different expressions. So he is special, and how he's special we'll be going to explore together while we'll be going through this session.
Absolutely. And before we go ahead with the session, I want to understand the learning outcome of this session. What exactly students can look forward to?
First of all, they are going to enjoy it. It is a fun-loving story, and after that, they'll be able to understand how to express, how to use different forms of expression like humor, suspense, surprise. So I'm looking forward to their involvement and their energy, where they can understand the importance of expression, because we learn grammar, we learn so many different things, but how to express, how to present something, it's very important. So through this chapter we are going to focus more on expression part.
Well, this character Iswaran, he looks quite interesting, and so is the writer. So let's talk about the writer.
As you can see, the very important aspect of this story is the one who has created it. It's Mr. R.K. Lakshman.
Yes.
The one whom we definitely call the one who created the common man, right?
Okay.
So R.K. Narayan is there, who has introduced us with the world of illustrations. He was the one who has served Times of India for more than 50 years. His contribution to Indian politics, Indian humor has been outstanding.
Right.
And the wonders he has created with his illustrations have been so remarkable that at present different forms of movies, different forms of interactions are somehow based on his illustrations.
Right.
So this is our Mr. R.K. Lakshman.
Well,
he's
lovely.
a legendary cartoonist, journalist, and a very nice writer. You are going to appreciate after the story.
Well, these illustrations need no explanation. They definitely exude a lot of vibrance and a lot of humor. So, ma'am, let's now move ahead with this storytelling.
Yeah, absolutely. So basically, Iswaran the Storyteller is a creative art of R.K. Lakshman. R.K. Lakshman, as we discussed, he's an illustrator. He has been illustrating since the age of 3. So his expression, which came out through cartoons, is now here in the form of a story. And I have tried my best to put a lot of justice to his writings, because he is an illustrator. So I try to illustrate his story in the form of some dialogues and conversations. So first of all, I'll introduce you with the characters of the story. So we have Mahendra, the protagonist of the story, and he's the one who is telling the story to one of his friend, right? So Mahendra is a junior supervisor in a firm, and he supervises different things, like he supervises somehow in railway projects or in some query projects. So this is the person. So you can understand a person who's a supervisor, what kind of temperament he might be having, right? So the other one is Iswaran, the main one whom we are talking about. So this is Iswaran. He is basically Mahendra ji's cook, right? So he actually do all his chores. He washes his clothes, he cleans his place, and moreover the best part is that at night he talks with his master Mahendra, and he tells him different types of stories, and he has an amazing capacity to cook out of anything which he gets, right? He doesn't need specific ingredients, he can cook anything with anything.
Lovely.
Right? So now our protagonist Mahendra, he is telling one of his friend that you know one night I woke up from my sleep and saw a dark cloudy form. I broke out into a cold sweat. His friend Ganesh was surprised. Like, was it a ghost? What do you think? Let me tell you a story and then you'll be able to understand what it was actually. Oh, that would be great. So now this story he is going to tell Ganesh about the whole incident. Ganesh, as you know, I'm a bachelor. My needs are simple and I'm able to adjust myself to all kinds of odd conditions, whether it is an ill-equipped circuit, house or a makeshift canvas tent in the middle of a stone quarry. But you know the only one asset I have, that is my cook, Iswaran. I used to leave early for my work after the breakfast, carrying food prepared by him. Meanwhile, he used to get tidy up the shed, wash the clothes and have leisurely bath, pouring several buckets of water over his head, muttering a prayer all the while. And after lunch, he would read some popular Tamil thriller running to hundreds of pages. Its imaginative descriptions and narrative flourishes would hold Iswaran in thrall. His own descriptions are greatly influenced by the Tamil authors that he reads, and when he narrates their incidents, he would try to work in suspense and a surprise ending into an account. For example, instead of saying that he had come across an uprooted tree on the highway, he would say, with eyebrows suitably arched and hands held out in a dramatic gesture. Now, this is what I was talking about. The speciality of our character Iswaran is that he makes every conversation so interesting with the help of jargon, words and expression that he has learned from the Tamil literature which he is reading.
Yeah.
So, let me show you how he has actually created this scene with his effective language, right? So now he is telling Ganesh also about it. So he says, the road was deserted and I was all alone. Suddenly, I spotted something that looked like an enormous bushy beast lying sprawled across the road. I was half inclined to turn and go back, but as I came closer, I saw that it was a fallen tree with its dry branches spread out. See, simple thing was that the tree was fallen down, the branches were spread out, but he used exaggerated terms and expression to give it a shot, right? So this is our Iswaran.
Master storyteller.
Absolutely, and that's what make Ganesh intrigued that, oh, he's such a master storyteller, you must tell me more stories about him. So now he's going to tell him another story which is about an elephant, right? So when Iswaran was very young, at that time some incident has happened and that incident he's sharing. The place I come from is famous for timber. There is a richly wooded forest all around. The logs are hauled onto the lorries by elephants. They are huge, well-fed beasts. Whether they turn wild, even the most experienced mahout is not able to control them. One day, a tusker escaped from the timber yard and began to roam about, stamping on bushes, tearing up the wild creepers and breaking branches at will. You know, sir, how an elephant behaves when it goes mad. Let me tell you that, how it creates a husk. The elephant reached the outskirts of our town, breaking the fences down like matchsticks. It came into the main road and smashed all the stalls selling fruits, mud pots and clothes. People ran helter-skelter in panic. The elephant now entered a school ground where the children were playing, breaking through the brick wall. All the boys ran into the classroom and shut the doors tight. The beast grunted and wandered about, pulling out the football goal post, tearing down the volleyball net, kicking and flattening the drum kept for water, and uprooting the shrubs. Meanwhile, all the teachers had climbed up to the terrace of the school building. From there, they were helplessly watching the depredations of the elephant. There was not a soul below on the ground. The streets were empty, as if the inhabitants of the entire town had suddenly disappeared. I was studying in the junior class at that time and was watching the whole drama from the rooftop. I don't know what came over me suddenly. I grabbed a cane from the hands of one of the teachers and ran towards the stairs and into the open. The elephant grunted and menacingly swung a branch of tree which it held in its trunk. It stamped its feet, kicking up a lot of mud and dust. It looked frightening. But I moved slowly towards it with the stick in my hand. People were watching the scene, hypnotized from nearby housetops. The elephant looked at me red-eyed, ready to rush towards me. It lifted its trunk and trumpeted loudly. At that moment, I moved forward and, mustering all my force, whacked its third toenail on the quick. The beast looked stunned for a moment. Then it shivered from head to foot and collapsed. So, such a huge description.
Yes.
And such a huge scene.
Yeah.
But what happened after that? You are also curious to know, isn't it?
Absolutely. I've been so hooked to the story that I can't wait to tell me the ending.
Yes, and so is Ganesh. And he's
Okay.
like, do you know what happened after that? Before he finished the story, Iswaran, the special, he left the place. He left the room and he just left unfinished mumbling something. So,
Wait a minute, he left the master in suspense and left the room?
yes.
My God, that's crazy.
Yes, that is. So, then suddenly he stopped and he told his master, I'll be back after lighting the gas and warming the dinner.
Oh, wow.
So, in the middle of the story, he just thinks that, oh, I have to warm up the dinner. So, this is Iswaran. He actually boosts up your morals for the story and then suddenly cools you down.
Right.
Then after a while when he came back, Mahendra was waiting that he'll tell what is
Yes.
the end, what happened, but he's not saying a single word. Then finally, after getting frustrated, he says, Iswaran, the conclusion was pending, tell me what happened later. So then he said, okay, very casually. A veterinary doctor was summoned to revive the animal. 2 days later, it was led away by its mahout to the jungle. So our character, Iswaran, special character, he
Yes.
knows how to excite you and then cools you off very badly.
Yes.
Okay, because he doesn't tell you the end of the story. Now Mahendra is curious to know how Iswaran got to this power where he could put down the beast. So he asked him, well, tell me, how do you manage to bring down the beast? It has something to do with a Japanese art, I think so. Karate or jujitsu, I don't know, something like that. I had read about it somewhere. It temporarily paralyzes the nervous system, you see, and that's how I was able to calm down the animal. So, this is Iswaran. And after that, he realized, he asked his master, can I make something special for dinner tonight, because it's a very special auspicious day, and in our tradition it is good to cook something good on the auspicious day. So the master allows him to do so and tells him to, that's fine. He cooks a very good dinner and the master is very satisfied with the dinner, and he was about to praise Iswaran for the very well cooked meal. But suddenly Iswaran said something which actually baffled and shocked the master. And what did he said? Let's explore.
Okay.
So
There is a suspense here as well.
your excitement, I can see.
Absolutely.
Okay, so he says, you know, sir, this entire factory area we are occupying right now was once a burial ground.
Oh my God.
Now imagine after having a very good meal and suddenly
Yeah.
somebody says something like that, and the face of the Mahendra I have tried to show through the animation. What? How do you know that? I knew on the very first day, sir, itself, when I saw a human skull lying on the path. Even now, I come across a number of skulls and bones. What? Didn't that frighten you? I'm not that easily frightened by these things, sir. I'm a brave fellow, but one horrible ghost of a woman, which appears off and on at midnight during the full moon, scared me. It's an ugly creature with matted hair and a shriveled face like a skeleton holding a fetus in its arm. You are crazy, Iswaran, you are terribly crazy. There are no such things as ghosts or spirits. It's an all figment of your imagination. Get your digestive system examined and maybe your head as well. You are talking nonsense. So Iswaran has actually given him a taste of scare.
Yes.
Let's see how Mahendra is going to handle it.
Right.
So his friends ask him, what happened after that? Nothing to Iswaran, but I couldn't go to bed with an ease,
Of
because he
course.
was uneasy with that kind of an expression.
I was about to ask you whether he was able to sleep or not.
That's what he's saying.
Yeah.
So after that, every night I peer into the darkness outside through the windows next to my bed, trying to make sure that there was no moment of the dark shapes in the vicinity. Oh my God, you actually believed Ishwaran's story? Believed? I can't put that in words. You know, when I looked out from my window, I could only see a darkness with the twinkling lights of the factory miles away. Oh dear. You know me, I always like to admire the milk white landscape on full moon nights. But after that horrible story that Ishwaran told me about the female ghost, I always avoided looking out of my window altogether where the moon was full. Oh, don't tell me that's why you shifted from there. Don't judge me so quickly, right? I will tell you what happened after that. One night, I woke up from my sleep by a low moan close to my window. At first, I thought it was a cat prowling around for mice, but the sound was too guttural for a cat. I resisted the curiosity to look out, but the wailing became louder and less feline. Then I couldn't resist the temptation anymore. Lowering myself to the level of the window sill, I looked out at the white sheet of moonlight outside. There, not too far away, was a dark, cloudy form clutching a bundle. I broke into a cold sweat and fell back on the pillow, panting. As I gradually recovered from the ghastly experience, I began to reason with myself and finally concluded that it must have been some sort of auto-suggestion in my mind, some trick that my subconscious had played on me. By the time I got up in the morning, had bath and came out to have my breakfast, the horror of the previous night had faded from my memory. So I was a bit relaxed. But what?
No, I'm curious to know. He has himself become like Ishwaran, I guess.
Okay, so, oh God, it sounds really very scary,
Yeah.
but you handled the situation very well. No, Ganesh, don't jump to conclusions so soon again. I will tell you exactly what happened
Oh my
that
God.
morning. So, again, Ishwaran is going to
Yes.
give us something very fine.
Of course.
So, in the morning, when Mahindra came out of his room, Ishwaran wished him and told him that I have prepared everything for you, your breakfast and lunch. So, it was like, good morning, sir. How are you? I have packed your lunch and bag for the office. Thanks, Ishwaran. I am leaving for office now. The moment Mahindra was leaving for the office, suddenly, our dearest character Ishwaran, he said something. He said, sir, remember the other day when I was telling you about the female ghost with a fetus in its arm, you were so angry with me or imagining such stupid things. Well, now you saw her yourself last night. I came running towards your room when I heard the sound of moaning that was coming from your room. Now this dialogue, it actually clarified Mahindra that what he was telling himself, that is just his imagination. It's not true.
No.
Oh dear, that I agree was scary. But sorry, to me it sounds hilarious. Oh, very funny for you, isn't it? But that time I couldn't feel a chill went down my spine. I didn't wait for Ishwaran to complete the sentence and hurried away to my office and handed my papers, resolving to leave the haunted place forever the very next day.
Wow.
So that is why you shifted from there. I must say that man is quite an impressive storyteller. Indeed, he was.
Wow.
So this is our Ishwaran who gave us scares, who gave us humor.
And some chills as well.
Absolutely. And the way, I'm delighted that we had the story, and delighted that R.K. Lakshman created a character, Ishwaran, who was able to give us something which was giving expressions, which was actually, although in Mahindra's words, exaggerating everything, but he was doing justice to the part of expression a lot.
Yes. And I think the beauty of the character is that it keeps you wanting for more and more.
Absolutely.
You're so hooked up, you don't want to leave the place, you're so intrigued, and it just leaves you in suspense. What's going to happen next? It's like as if you are in some suspense thriller, watching a movie, and you have forgotten everything and you're just waiting for the climax to happen. And
Absolutely.
suddenly it gives you another kind of
something
close.
unexpected comes to that part, and you are like baffled. What?
What?
was that supposed to happen?
Right.
So this is how R.K. Lakshman very beautifully created a story in which the storyteller Iswaran, he gave different sorts of expression, and you could see in the beginning when Mahendra was trying to tell that I couldn't sleep. Now finally we could relate why he was not able to sleep, because
Yes.
of the scary expression that he has heard from
Absolutely.
Iswaran about a character. So the way you were also intrigued
Yeah.
to know what is happening in both the stories could give us a very good insight that putting suspense, humor and expression in your story, in your text, actually captivates the listeners, the audience attention, and it is very important for a very good story to keep the suspense alive, as you said very rightly.
Right, and I think if you want to bring a fiction to life, you need such kind of people who are master
Absolutely.
storytellers, because they know how to play with your psychology and how to make you believe in something that is simply unreal, not existing, but that person can make sure that you not just believe in that, but you get scared as well. That's what happened to Mahendra here.
Yes.
And the story is interesting, and I think the way you were narrating it was equally interesting.
Thank you.
And I thoroughly enjoyed myself. I hope all the students out there also enjoyed the session, and what we have learned. Of course, we learned different expressions, that how Iswaran dramatized the entire situation, and you can see the use of words, the use of sentences. They're not, I mean, they definitely, the meaning is quite simple. You have to read between the lines, and when you will draw the conclusion, draw the meaning, it will be very simple. But the way he has played with words here is extremely beautiful, and that's the beauty of language. That's what you learn. And when you say that you're a good writer, here you can take certain steps, certain tips if you wish to become one. And now, ma'am, we're running short of time, so we have to wrap up the session over here. But thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me here, and
wonderful-
thank you for being equally contributing to the expression.
Well, I was very
chapter.
attentive, because I thought, I'll be guessing something, I'll be imagining also, but the result was totally different, totally opposite of what I was expecting. But yes, thank you so much for your contribution to the session. And now let's take a look at the schedule, what's all coming ahead. Yes, let's watch it on your screen. So here's the entire list of programs that you'll be watching. We are just through with our session on English, where we, of course, learnt about Iswaran the Storyteller. In a short while from now, we will watch a session on mathematics, and we will be taking up probability. This will be followed by another session, social sciences. Simultaneously, Paricharcha is also going on live. You can watch that as well. 4 to 5 p.m. is the time for our online training session. 5 p.m. is the time for Sahyog, and that will be followed by our topic on school leadership and development at 5:30. And now, before I close the session and leave the studio, here is an important update for all of you. So this is about the All India Children's Educational E-Content Competition. It is back for the year 2024-25. We invite teachers, teacher educators, students and independent educational e-content creators to submit their best e-content for the competition. For further details and the registration form, please visit the activity section of our official website www.ciet.ncert.gov.in or scan the QR code on the screen. The final date for submission is December 31st, 2024. And with that, this is me, Harpreet Kaur, taking leave of you. Stay tuned with us for more educational programs. Namaskar.